And I think a lot of times when the abortion industry talks about our abortion laws, I mean, we know, like, when we talk about the extremism of abortion laws in our country, we actually win. The fact that, like, we're up there with China, Canada, and North Korea for having the most extreme abortion laws. Um, but it's kind of deceptive a lot of times when the abortion industry talks about what kind of laws we have. In fact, a couple years ago, there was a Pew poll done in January around the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, and it said, the headline was "Majority of Americans support Roe versus Wade." And I looked back at the polling question they had asked, and it said, Roe versus Wade legalized abortion the first 3 months. How do you feel about abortion? And so the abortion industry, CNN, like all the mainstream leftist news outlets took this, and the headline was "Majority of Americans support legal abortion," which is actually not the case. And in fact, a poll that we conducted at Students for Life this January found that once we told millennials, the largest voting bloc in America, 18, 24-year-olds, what Roe versus Wade was and what it did, we actually won. We had 51%, I want to say 51 or 53% agree with us that Roe versus Wade should be reversed and that the decision of abortion should go back to the states like it was pre-1973. We even had more than 60% of millennials in our poll this January say that they believe that they should have the right to vote on abortion policy, meaning abortion, the decision of whether abortion, the legality of abortion, they wanted to come back to the states, which is what we had pre-1973 in the Supreme Court, and 7 men jumping into this mess. So before 1973, you had several states that had legalized abortion. Most states did not have legalized abortion. And, often when we're on campuses, I actually got this question the other day at a public school. We get asked the question of, like, you talk about abolishing abortion and you say abortion's wrong, but really, can we make abortion illegal? And I think a lot of people, when they ask this question, I mean, it's coming from a good part, right? They have good intentions behind asking it. They don't want women to die from having illegal abortion. And that's not what the pro-life movement wants either, right? We don't want anyone to die. That's why we're pro-life. That's why we're anti-abortion. Duh, hello. But I do think, a lot of people who ask this question, they're not necessarily like hardcore abortion advocates and extremists who, wouldn't mind sucking up a baby. But these are just people who just are really trying to understand this issue. And so it's a question we get at Students for Life a lot of, what about, what happened before 1973? And weren't there tens of thousands of women dying a year from having dangerous illegal abortions? And we don't want that. And I think there's a couple of things you can say to respond to this. I mean, obviously, like, just because something is dangerous doesn't mean it should be legal. I mean, bank robbery is highly dangerous. Armed bank robbery is highly dangerous. It doesn't usually turn out well for the armed bank robbers, but we haven't legalized armed bank robbery. We also know that, and it's true, passing a law and saying something should be illegal isn't necessarily going to end it. So I've actually heard this from some pro-life advocates recently of, like, and I think they do it as a way to kind of suck up or become more friendly with those on the other side and say, well, look, we're not really into politics and we're not here to talk about the law. We don't really care what the law says and what's going on. And I think they say that because they want the other side to, like, view them as their friends. I mean, ultimately, we can try to build relationships with those who advocate for abortion. And I think we should continue to build relationships with those who advocate for abortion and befriend them. And because honestly, like, when you befriend somebody, they're actually more likely to listen to you. Our model at Students for Life is belong, believe, behave. It's not until somebody belongs often with your Students for Life group or feels like they belong with you that they're actually going to start listening to what you're saying, especially, world-changing things, worldview-changing things like abortion or faith. So this, I mean, it's a belong, believe, behave is actually an evangelical, like, tool for spreading faith.